Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Tea&D Court of Spades session. My name is Emily and as always I will be your dungeon master. I will also be playing the role of Nyx, the tiefling mythical beast of the party, and we're gonna go down and do introductions. We're gonna skip over Wiz right now, who is AFK, but we'll come back to her when she's ready. Go ahead, team.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Nat. I play Jezebel Emmerich, the human druid.
Me. Okay, cool. Hello. My name is Nick, and I am going to be playing Owl Chesterfield, the Dragonborn fighter.
As always, it's your boy Detroit, playing Peter Longbottom, the Halfling Bard.
Alright, Wiz will do their introduction when they come back, but for now let's do a quick recap. Not a lot happened because you are currently at the Festival of Gaelia. Although last time we did spend about half an hour playing a fishing carnival game, so that was the height of excitement.
You're goddamn right we did.
Where Al continued to fail 3 times at catching a goldfish?
It's not important.
Luckily
He got a wood one eventually.
Yeah, luckily his
by Wiz.
Yeah,
Very
his
nice.
loving
The power of
teammate.
friendship.
His loving teammate was willing to spend a couple extra gold to win him a wooden goldfish. And Nyx has also acquired a goldfish, except it's a live one, so he's just kind of carrying that around right now. In addition, the party did a bit of shopping, and Peter convinced his mother that the reason he was at the festival was to perform, so that needs a resolution.
Oh
no. When we last left off, everyone was kind of being called to the center square to begin the final event of the evening as the sun began to set. But as this was happening, Jez, you were tugged on the shoulder by a stranger, and that is where we're going to pick up. So...
Shit, I completely forgot that I was being absconded with. Oh, I'm so excited, guys!
Give me 2 seconds to load up something.
Never.
Jezebel's gonna die.
That's alright.
No, it's not!
Death is but another... Oh no, I think my yogurt...
I don't want to hear any of your
expired.
druid nonsense.
Shit.
I don't want to hear any of your druid nonsense.
Oh.
What?
Guys, I
I
was
did
gonna
that
be
on
eating
purpose.
yogurt during this session of Dungeons & Dragons, but my yogurt has expired.
Oops, I copy and pasted the same link. Hold on. Hold on. That was... Oops. Not what I meant to do. I forgot to copy the new link. Hold on, guys. Bear with me.
You're good.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. There we go. Okay. Why is it playing World of Warcraft?
Because it wants to make the best of its subscription.
It really does. Oh, thank God that was put an F in the chat. Here we go. Let's try this one. There we go. That's more of the ambiance I was going for. Sorry about that, I'm working with a new music bot. Okay. Wiz, since you're back in the chat, do you want to do your introduction real quick? At least I assume Wiz is back in the chat, unless Wiz just paid respects from the bathroom. Which is also likely.
As one does from the bathroom.
Yeah.
Pay their respects.
I think that might be what they did. Anyway, so Jez, you feel a tug on your elbow as you are stopped by a mysterious figure that has emerged from that small unmarked tent amongst the other merchant tents. And as they stop you, you don't really have a moment to stop your party, as they've kind of joined this massive crowd that is all funneling towards the center square. So, I was an idiot. I put a Cheerio in my mouth. Hold on, let me munch. This is so unprofessional.
Squad!
There we go. Okay. As you turn to look at the stranger, you are staring into what seems to be cat eyes. But as this figure kind of emerges from the shadows, you quickly realize that these belong to a almost fox-like person. Humanoid.
Okay.
Staring at Jez is a woman with long, flowing white hair that is sectioned off only at the end of it. Her eyes are a crisp, icy blue-gray, almost reminiscent of Cecilia's blind eyes, but these are a little bit more hued as the blue in her robes brings out the blue in her eyes. You notice growing prominently from her head are two large white ears. And as she silently motions for you to follow her, she turns and you notice that she also has a large white fox-like tail peeking out from the back side of her robes.
Yeah.
The robes that I've mentioned are heavily layered, which is a bit unusual, as it is still that transition from warm weather into fall weather. Well, getting there, but it's not quite cold enough for her to be as bundled up as she is. But it just seems to be layers and layers of blue and gray fabric as she disappears back into her tent, waiting for you to follow her.
Just like looks over their shoulder at their retreating party members and follows after the lady.
As you enter this tent, the first thing you notice is the temperature. It is unreasonably cold in here. You can't quite discern that at first, however, because you feel it, but then it almost feels as if it's kind of being slicked away from you, as rain would. As you move through it, you can see as you exhale there's a cloud of your breath in front of your face, but it doesn't seem to chill you as normal cold would, and the woman in front of you doesn't seem to be off-put by the temperature either, yet frost seems to be clinging at the bottom of the tent and crawling up some of the possessions that she has scattered about the interior of this tent.
Can I help you?
She doesn't respond right away. She makes her way to a table that is kind of sitting in the center of this tent. It is covered in a black shroud that catches the light every once in a while from a few flickering candles that she has scattered all about the interior.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of this interior is just a mishmash of crystals and books, and from the ceiling there hangs small, delicate, what looks to be more crystals, but in the shape of snowflakes.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes a seat at the table, and you notice, as you look at her closely again, that she has faint markings on her cheeks where one might have whiskers if she possessed them, but there's no indication of actual whiskers growing from her face. And she once again kind of raises her hand to you and makes a come hither gesture.
Jess does that. Is there another seat at the table?
Yes, there's one
Yeah.
across from her.
We'll sit down. Take a seat.
Okay. You take a seat, and the woman kind of examines you for a moment. She hasn't said a word to Jez yet, but she seems to be kind of taking in Jez. And Jez wears something around their neck, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Is it anything in particular, or is it just a stone of choice?
It is actually like a skin bag that's been
Oh,
decorated.
that's right.
Yeah.
So after this woman takes Jez in from a distance, she actually reaches forward and touches the necklace around Jez's neck, kind of examining it before looking up and making eye contact with Jez.
Sorry.
You seek answers.
They kind of like brush her hand away and put their hand over the bag, kind of like they don't want her to take it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we all?
Some questions are different than others. They can only be answered if one looks in the right places. It is not a coincidence that you've come here. It's not a coincidence that I saw you. And it's not a coincidence that I have not quite answers, but clues that might help you find yours. Do you wish to know the information that I possess? Jezebel Emmerich.
These things always come with a price. I hardly think that you are free.
A price, perhaps, but not one that can be paid. Not with material items, and not to me. I am merely a vessel, a patron.
Of?
The higher force that guides us all on our path to destiny. Your circle is dying, Jezebel.
And this is because I haven't done what I said I would do.
Your circle has been dying for longer than you have been around. It is not your fault alone, though you do carry it with you. I can provide some assistance in helping you find what you seek. Your solution is not yet out of your reach. All you need to do is ask.
Then where do I go from here? How do I go from here?
As you ask these questions, the woman reaches to the side of her where there seems to be a small drawer, and she pulls it open and takes out a small deck of cards and sits them on the table in between you. I don't know how familiar Jez would be with normal gimmicky practices such as tarot reading or anything like that, but these are not tarot cards. These are not generic cards. This seems to be a deck of something that you've never seen before.
Okay. Are they pretty?
They are pretty. They're white and they have what seems to be a six-pointed snowflake on the back of them, in kind of a shimmery silver foil. And she turns the first one over and shows you an image that is beautifully painted of a snow-covered mountain. To first learn of the future, we must look at the past. Something has laid dormant for many years. So long that it's crumbling around you. There's a bleak nothingness engulfing your memories, blurring them from sight, but this is what drives you. A mountain is not just a sleeping giant, but it is an immovable monument. You carry its strength and resolve, but with that comes the cost of isolation. The burden you carry is yours to bear alone, as long as you are willing to carry it. Does this ring true to you of your past?
I don't think I don't remember anything. But
it is not always the memories that we carry on a surface level. Sometimes it is the memories of our ancestors or generations before us that tend to fade. New practices let old ones die out. New gods take the place of old ones. She turns the second card, and on it is a painting of what looks to be kind of a fortress. This is your present. You have found something solid to hold on to. After years of searching, you've found a foothold towards your resolution. But there are still immense obstacles that stand in your path. Walls that you can't see over, and guards that will stop you at the gates of truth. You stand shoulder to shoulder with allies that strengthen you, yet you close them off. You must decide whose hand will guide you to your destiny.
My team doesn't ask the right questions, and that is no fault of mine. I know them well enough to do what needs to be done.
Vulnerability is not a weakness. But we don't always have to be vulnerable in order to open ourselves to others. Sometimes it takes a proof of loyalty. Bonds can be formed and broken over many things. You have to sow the right ones in order to make the strongest.
And when they break that trust?
You must make it so that it is unbreakable. She turns over the last card and you see a pretty graphic image of what looks to be the fang of something, but it is bloody and there is flesh kind of clinging to it. She studies it for a moment, and for the first time, her serene expression kind of falters for a moment as her eyebrows furrow a little bit. And she looks back up at you. There is pain and anguish to come. But there is also rebirth and life. The winter is harsh and bites at one's will, but wolves will always endure. There's power in a pack. Blood will keep you warm and fed. It will bring you suffering and resurrection. You must fight to survive, but it is up to you whether or not you will thrive. Be wise. Follow your instincts. Nature has given you her greatest gift, and you must pay it forward. There is a path beneath the snow, young one. You must learn to track it.
Does, I want to say annoyed because it's not quite that. But maybe just a little bit miffed. This is very cryptic. I'm not a fan.
The woman withdraws the rest of the deck and puts it back in the drawer and kind of pushes the cards towards Jez as she folds her hands up and places them on the table. I have offered you what I can. This information is yours to do with what you will.
And if I don't do anything with it?
Then that is your choice. The voices of the gods often fall on deaf ears. Perhaps you have not found what you seek because you refuse to listen.
Yeah, they kind of like reach out for the cards and place them in order that they were flipped over and pull them towards themselves.
The woman bows her head and meets Jez's eyes again. The same serene expression returning to her face. I wish you well on your path, Jezebel.
And on yours.
She kind of bows her head again and reaches out to gesture to the entrance of her tent, indicating that you may leave at any time.
God, there's part of me that really wants to look around this tent, and the other part of me is like, no. Don't do that.
You can do whatever you'd like. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
I know. Can I take a look around just from where Jez is as they're going out, like slow walking their way out?
Yeah, sure. Are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just
I
kind of
don't know what I would be looking for. Maybe
there's
something that would ally her to my interests and
there's nothing that particularly stands out to Jez. I don't know if they'd be interested in any of the crystals that this woman kind of has strewn about, hanging off of every which direction, intermingled with what is basically just a bunch of tapestries that are hanging over each other to create this kind of layered look to the inside of this tent.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing that particularly would grab Jez's attention. It's all just kind of classic things that you would see in a fortune teller's tent.
And it's not obvious where the cold is coming from?
No. There's no indication of something that is creating the cold.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess we're leaving this.
Okay. As you exit the tent, you are met with what feels at first like a wall of warm air. Though, since the sun is setting, that particular autumn chill still kind of lingers, but compared to the interior of that tent, it is a welcomed warmth.
Mm-hmm.
And you take a moment, you feel almost as if you've just... You know that feeling you get when you wake up from a nap and you kind of don't know what year it is?
Very intimately.
Yes. You get kind of a feeling similar to that as you step out of her tent, and the world kind of spins around you for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But you're quickly snapped out of this as you hear Jack's voice call to you. Jez! There you are! I couldn't find you after I came back from, getting ready and all. But come on, you're going to this the best part, the end of the show.
Do I still have the cards with me?
You do still have the cards.
And
Jez, as Jack runs up to you, he kind of looks around and he's like, What are you doing?
I am gonna go out on a limb and say that the tent is gone. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Wow. I guess affirming that after taking a glance in that direction, just, tucks the cards into their whatever pocket, pouch, the Dungeons and Dragons fanny pack.
Okay.
And,
Your fanny pack.
just kind of, offers a shrug and a laugh and just, I was enjoying the end of the day and all of the shops. There's a lot to see.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Although I thought the merchants closed up before the show, but never mind. Come on, let's go find the others and watch the show. And he reaches for Jez's hand and kind of starts tugging them along.
Yeah, alright, let's go.
Okay. Alright. So, now we bring back the happy music that wouldn't stop playing at the beginning of the stream. But first I gotta heckin' skip to it. There we go. So you rejoin this massive gathering of people that has formed in the center of Grimoire's town square. It takes you a little bit, but you quickly see the landmark that is Owl standing amongst the crowd.
Here I am.
Wow. We'll never get lost again.
Yeah, our rendezvous point, Owl.
And you make your way back to your party. And Jez rejoins all of you. Before we jump into this little dialogue, Wiz, would you like to introduce yourself? Maybe? Perhaps? If Wiz is here?
No.
Oh, they said wait?
I like to imagine Wiz is still in the bathroom as we speak.
Yeah. Some real personal time.
Fang
Yeah.
in my mouth.
Gotta work out some stuff.
Wiz said, wait, Fang in my mouth. God crunch.
I am so
Okay.
disappointed that the entire Discord conversation, while I was paying attention to the wonderful story our GM was weaving for me, was just about furries.
Okay, hey, you said conversation like it went on for a while. It was a couple of exchanges, alright?
A couple comments were made here.
Yeah. Mind you, yes, every single one of them was indeed about furries with an undertone of kidnapping. But you
Kidnapping.
know what?
That's pretty rich coming from someone who's playing a scaly, but okay.
What? Hey. You didn't have to bring sex into it, alright? It's not.
Oh,
I
gosh.
didn't!
Who said anything
No,
about
no, no.
sex? Owl.
I didn't say anything about sex, Nick. You made it about sex. I just made
Hey.
it about dragons.
No. See, we're going down a very dark road
Anyway,
here.
while we're getting the fang out of their mouth, let's continue with the narrative, shall we? I don't want to get fucking demonetized on Twitch. Banned, I think, is what happens to Twitch streamers. So,
We're making money?
no, we're not. So anyway, Jez rejoins the party, and all of you notice because Jack is also with them.
Oh. Hello.
Did they notice I was gone in the first place? Probably not.
That's a good question.
Owl probably did.
I'm gonna roll for perception.
Okay.
3. Alright, 3 plus 4, 7. I doubt it.
Peter did not. Peter's very, very tipsy at this point of the night. He is.
Oh, there you are. Oh, hi, Jazz. Jack.
Al, your parents are kind of nearby to you, but your mother seems to be very pleased with the fact that you have made this small group of friends while you were here.
Yeah.
So they're kind of they're nearby, but they're kind of just keeping a watchful distance. Trying not to intrude on your good times.
She's
Mhm.
concerned we're gonna kidnap
And
you.
taking care of their own business. and whatnot.
Nick's rolled a 6, and I don't remember what my proficiency modifier is because I didn't open his not his proficiency modifier, his perception modifier is because I didn't open my sheet because I didn't think I would need it. So we'll just say he also did not notice because he too has been drinking nearly as much as Peter has.
I rolled a 17 on perception.
So Al did notice, but Al probably, with two boisterous drunks accompanying him, probably couldn't get much of a word in edgewise.
He didn't want to bring it up. He figures this happens a lot because it's been happening all afternoon.
Yeah, and
People coming and going.
exactly, and Jez seems to be the most level-headed of the group from what you've seen, so you probably assumed they just made their way to do something more intelligent than stumbling around the festival.
More intelligent.
Marin, while he isn't completely intoxicated, did roll an 8 on perception, so he's more so just babysitting the other two, and that's why he didn't quite notice that Jez was absent. Oh. Hey, I feel like I haven't talked to you in like 20
Jez,
minutes or something.
please help me. Please help me.
Are you struggling with your friend there, Marin?
The long pause
my two
before the
actually.
word friend was not unnoticed, Nat.
I'm glad. It was supposed to not be
It was
unnoticed.
to Marin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jez goes and throws one of Nyx's arms over their shoulder. It's not gonna be super effective because Jez is what?
5 foot.
6 inches shorter than
Nyx
or
is like
wait,
6
like a foot and a half
something.
shorter
Like a
than
foot.
no. A foot
Yeah.
shorter than
Mm-hmm.
Marin or
Nyx, yes. Mm-hmm. He goes, I'm fine. I can walk just fine, okay? You should probably be helping him. And he points
What?
to Peter, who is just like... He's clearly trying to stand still, but he's like, every once in a while, like, bumping into other people. Who are just like, because you're all really clustered in with this group of people. So, Peter, you keep having to be like, oh, excuse me, like, sorry, and people are just kind of, like, edging away from you a little bit to give you, like, a proximity ring.
You are probably
Yes.
right.
Oh, hi, Jez.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
Have you enjoyed your festival?
Uh-huh.
Are you ready to see more of the festival?
Yeah, oh, are we near the... Oh, we're at the end, aren't we?
Just of today.
Oh, no.
It's alright.
No.
As you kind of tend to your party, those of you who are, like Al, I'd say, you're more so paying attention to, the congregation that's happening, like the preparations that are being made for this closing ceremony, essentially. And the sun has just about completely disappeared from the sky. And you notice, Elin, who I don't think... Oh, you interacted with her. Yeah, you were introduced to her. So you see Elin.
Very briefly, yeah.
She's, kind of making her way around, and you see her handing what seems to be kind of like a wand to, a bunch of children that she's encountering. And what it seems to be is a wand that has a charge of prestidigitation in it.
Oh, is it like a fucking Roman candle?
Kind of. So as she passes them out to the children, the tips of the wands start to light up in sparks, kind of like a sparkler.
Yeah.
And she also hands them to a few adults who are kind of looking at her forlornly and hoping that they'll get one as well.
I am one of those adults.
You wave her down. She's a small halfling woman. So she kind of cranes her neck and reaches above a few people and passes one to you, and she goes, enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you.
The people around you, the square is just being lit by low, dim lanterns that have kind of been put out by the surrounding businesses. and the lights of these small wands that are being waved in all directions, some of which are just being pointed towards the sky. And you see two things kind of preparing themselves. You notice a stage that has been there all evening, but none of you really went up to watch the performers. But it has now been packed full of pretty much every minstrel that has attended this festival. They seem to be kind of congregating and talking and tuning their instruments and preparing to play. Peter, out of the corner of your eye,
Shit.
You notice at the edge of the crowd, kind of nearby, in your drunken stupor, you kind of look up and to see what's going on, and notice kind of by the edge of the stage where the minstrels are gathering, you see a very familiar face as your mother kind of peers around, seemingly looking for you in the crowd of minstrels.
Oh, fuck. No. I think she would actually wait for me.
Hey, Peter, was this the thing that you said you were going to be a part of?
Mm-hmm. I sure did say that, didn't I, Al?
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Peter, how the
No, no.
Hold on.
Mm.
Baron pulls out his spell book.
Marin, I do not turn my mom into anything.
No! I'm not turning your mother into anything.
I don't think he can even do that. Can you do that?
I can do that. But, like... Shush.
I mean...
When did you learn to do that? You don't have to listen to him. you can do.
I put my hand over Nix's mouth.
A common trend.
Peter, you're shit-faced.
I could be better.
If you wanted me to,
Yes.
I
Can
could.
you make me sober?
No.
Oh, fuck. No, we're all screwed.
That I cannot do.
God damn.
But I can... I can alter myself to look like you and then perform.
Do you even know how to play an instrument?
No.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen you play it. Yeah.
I can perform, but I can't play.
No, I should...
Actually, wait.
I dug this grave myself. I'm gonna pull myself out.
I mean, couldn't you sneak up there and just try and blend in? I mean, there are a lot of people up there, you know?
That's true, but my mother's waiting very...
Well, right, but just so
Play it.
your mom sees you, and then, you know...
Get lost in the crowd.
Yeah, you're right. I'll just enter on the other side of the stage. I'll be... Here, you just watch my stuff real quick. And he just pulls out his viol.
Just dumps all his
Cool.
shit on the ground.
Yeah.
Man, like...
I'm taking my new fancy loot too. I don't know what this is gonna do, but it's gonna be great.
Okay.
Just watch this, guys.
And as
So-
Peter walks away, Owl to himself just goes, "Yeah, good idea, Owl," and gives himself a high five.
God, I love him.
So, clarify to me what exactly Peter's doing here.
I
What
am
is his
going- yeah.
strategy?
I'm going to sneak up onto the stage with the other performers, but avoid my mother due to the fact that I am in a drunken stupor, and I do not need to embarrass myself any further.
Okay. I want to remind you that this new instrument you have, I don't believe, I fucking forget. Hold on. Let me glance at the thing that you sent me just to.
Yeah,
Oh
sure.
shit! What channel was it in? It was in.
It should be in general.
General. Okay. Let me
Just-
glance
yeah.
at that thing that you sent me real quick. Here we go. Okay, it's just imbued with spells. So let me
Wait,
remind.
Do you have to attune to it?
Oh wait, I do have to tune to it.
Okay, so it's just a regular loot right now for you.
Yeah, it's just regular loot. That's fine.
It's just a
I
regular
don't
loot,
assume
right?
you were going to be casting any spells with it or trying to do psychic damage with it.
I don't know. I was really
Okay.
considering just flying away during the middle of the
Although
performance.
you are gonna have to make a wisdom saving throw.
In order to attune for it.
A person who is not attuned to it must succeed on a DC 15 wisdom saving throw or take 2d4 psychic damage.
Oh Christ, is there any way I can attune to it in like 5 seconds?
I don't
No.
think that's how that
30
works.
minutes, bruvy.
God
I
damn.
just learned about
It's
how
a
attuning
whole
works, but I'm pretty sure it's not instantaneous.
Alright, fuck it. I'll take the
You
wisdom
gotta
damage.
sit with
What's it, a wisdom roll?
Yeah, so make
Fuck
a
it.
wisdom save.
We're doing it.
Yeah, YOLO, right?
Yeah, YOLO.
You only loot once.
Nick, as someone, or I guess anyone else who's played a bard, does
Mhm.
Jack of all trades still apply to saving throws?
No.
Okay, damn it. It's only on skill proficiency. Okay, fine,
Yeah,
whatever.
Just skills.
18 plus 1, 19.
Hey!
I am very wise in my drunkenness.
Alright,
So you
alright
don't
then.
hurt yourself when you play.
You're good. Ignore me trying to summon rhythm to every channel. So, Peter, you fucking get up there, buddy.
I sure do.
And, after tuning the loot the best you can, you encounter, the first of your obstacles, which is another minstrel who kind of looks at you and is like, I'm sorry, do I know you?
Oh, yeah, name is Peter from Harper University. I'm a last minute addition they wanted to add in for the festivities.
Oh.
Don't mind me. Toon's loot.
Yeah, sure. You know the piece we're playing and all that?
Yeah. It's the usual pieces, right? That we play every year.
Make a deception check.
Oh God. Okay. All right. That's fine. This is fine. I have a +9. This can't be bad. 7 plus 9. That's 16.
Okay. He. Hold on. Okay, so I rolled a nat 20 on his insight check.
Oh fuck!
So he looks at you and kind of notices the state you're in, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, I don't know who you are, but we don't typically let people who are intoxicated perform on stage with us."
Oh, is that oh, I'm the one intoxicated. You sounds like you look like the one that's being intoxicated. I cast confusion on him.
Okay, do I have to make a saving throw?
Good question. But, oh God. No, I'm going through with this. I already said I was doing it, so I have to go through with it. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere makes the wisdom save.
Makes a wisdom save. Okay.
I am so
It's
glad.
not single target. This is fine.
Okay, what's the wisdom? What's the DC I have to beat?
It's a the DC is, let's check that, 17.
There's a potential he just starts hitting people. This guy might just start a fight on stage.
Yeah, I'm the one that's inebriated. You look like the ones that's inebriated. I guess confusion.
Okay. But what was the DC?
17.
17. Okay, yeah, no, he failed that save. I rolled an 11 plus whatever arbitrary wisdom modifier is on this random entity. So okay, so what is he doing now? Yeah, roll. I guess you get to roll a d10.
Oh my god.
Oh, sweet. All right, I'll roll it. I will roll it in here. Oh, 10.
He's
Oh,
fine.
wait! God damn it! No!
Well-
Oh my god! Fuck me! I wasted
Oh.
the spell too.
Oh my
Well,
god.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
I
he
wanted to roll
technically-
it in there for authenticity, but it kind of no.
Well,
Instead,
he technically speaking, if you're concentrating on it for up to a minute, he has to roll 5 more times on that table.
Okay, yeah, do you want to make a second throw?
Are you kidding?
Did you roll?
Oh man! So for like the first, you just gotta stand there in silence for 12 seconds.
That's
this
a.
man.
I want everyone to know that was a 1% chance of happening.
You fucking, okay. So you throw a spell in this guy's face and he seems to be bewildered by it.
Oh my god! I love how the component for confusion is 3 nutshells. So I just imagine Peter throws out some peanut shells in his face. Like,
Pocket sand.
pocket nuts. That didn't do anything. Oh, looks like we're about to start, pal. Better get to tuning.
Hold on a second. So you threw out some peanut shells and strummed your lute, and he seemed very confused for a second, and he was like, okay, and then you did it again.
I hate this. God, I hate this.
Okay, so.
And as we're just like off to the side, like too far away to hear any of this, we just see him throw peanuts in a guy's face and just, well, I'm sure everything's going well.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
Do you think I should? Nah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find an appropriate medieval tune. This one is just so grinding to listen to.
I'm so glad Peter's chaotic.
Peter's gonna get arrested again.
Okay.
I'm just imagining the Always Sunny style cold open, just like, I'm not intoxicated, you're intoxicated. Throw peanuts in his face. Cut to screen. Peter gets arrested again. Diddle it.
God, I wish I could layer sounds. I keep adding bots so that I can play more than one sound at a time, and then my bot, like, bites the dust.
There can only be one.
Apparently.
Playing another one bites the dust.
Because I literally, like, don't know why Rhythm has suddenly been like, goodbye. Let's see if I can last second throw this guy in here. Maybe? You're not a robot. Fredboat? No, Fredboat
I'm
is
still
offline.
really upset that my confusion spell did not work at all.
Oh, he's online. Fredboat. Please work.
Come on, Fred Boat.
Okay, so we're gonna play this, and then I'm gonna queue up the next thing. You guys hear that classic sound, an orchestra tuning their instruments all together as a conductor who seems to be a small gnomish man, stands in front of all of you, Peter. And he raises his hand to begin the song, and everyone begins playing.
Oh, I love this song.
Okay. Wow, there are so many. documentation has been sent to my DMs. Cool. Thanks, Fredboat, for sliding into my DMs.
With the documentation.
Alright. So, as this happens... Oh, turn Fredboat.
Oh god.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry. I should have warned you guys. Should I stop
Freedom
it?
is too strong.
Hopefully
You guys-
America. Oh god!
You guys, hear this, like, crack in the distance, and you see, a barrel fly up and kind of like the tip of a catapult, in the distance. And this barrel shoots up, and, the rest of you who are in the crowd watch as this young wizard kind of stands out and bows. And then he shoots his wand up in the air, and the barrel explodes. And he begins shaping the sparks and the flames from this into just a variety of shapes. First he starts with what seems to be a phoenix, and it kind of swoops down and flies over the crowd. You feel not quite an intense burst of heat, but there's definitely a warmth that radiates from the phoenix as it flies over the crowd before dispersing into little embers. They shoot another barrel up, and the wizard does this again, shaping it into small woodland creatures that just kind of jump off in every direction. They're small squirrels and rabbits that just kind of dance in the sky. While these aren't colorful fireworks, they are definitely something that has been manufactured here in Grimoire, specifically by these dwarves for celebration. So this is a special experience that you only get to experience when you're in Grimoire. So Owl, that would make it a special treat for you, because this is something that maybe you haven't seen. I mean, obviously you've attended previous Gaelia festivals, but
I haven't seen it in a while.
yeah, it's been a whole year since you've seen it.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen anything like that, and we traveled with the carnival for a long time.
Marin isn't saying anything. He's just like squeezing Nix's hand and staring.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I always miss this when I can't come.
How do you think Peter's doing?
That is a good question. How is Peter doing?
How am I doing? I'm just like
Peter.
thinking in my head, I'm like, oh thank god the fireworks are louder than I can play.
You're kind of, roll a performance check with disadvantage.
Wait, wait, hold on. No, never mind. Expertise does not give you advantage, it just...
No, it doesn't. It just
Nope.
gives you double the proficiency bonus.
Okay, with disadvantage, no problem. No problem. Okay, that's 3. Okay, that's a 6. Okay, 3 plus,
Your charisma modifier, I believe, is performance.
yeah. 5 plus, okay, 3 plus 9, that's 12.
Okay, so it's definitely not your peak performance, but luckily there seems to be enough going on around you, that it kind of conceals the fact that you are absolutely bullshitting your way through this musical piece.
It's only like 4 chords. It's fine.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, please tell me I'm not gonna puke on stage. It's just
Oh,
regular
God, please
Constitution
tell
saving throw.
Yep,
Please
just a
tell me
regular
he's gonna
Constitution.
puke on stage.
Okay.
Please,
Okay.
God.
Okay.
Your previous rolls have not been. Oh no.
2 plus 2. 4.
Yes! Yes!
No.
He's gonna yarl so bad.
No. Oh god, no.
Puke on these musicians. Do it. You have to
No,
now.
I swear to God.
Peter, you've been going for like a pretty decent amount of time at this point, but it's just, man, that ale is just hitting you hard. And being surrounded by loud minstrels alongside the loud booming of the fireworks, as well as all of the colors that are just kind of dancing around your eyes, you begin to feel very, very dizzy and nauseous. And while the rest of the minstrels kind of have, especially the one that was talking to you earlier that you ended up throwing peanuts at until he went away, while he hasn't really paid you any mind, he definitely notices as you stumble forward in front of the line of minstrels and just empty all of that ale onto the ground
Oh god.
in front of an entire crowd of people.
Hold on. No, hold on. Let me just do spells real quick. Hold on. Hold on.
And Al just turns and goes, I don't think that's what he wanted to do. But
Oh,
it's what
God.
he's doing right now.
Alright, the second I puke, I cast the second I have like a clear moment in my brain after puking,
Yeah.
I cast Dimension Door on myself.
Uh,
Oh, God.
So Peter, you let loose and just barf all over the ground, and
and then bounce! Let somebody else clean that up.
you hear the music just kind of suddenly halt, which I'm not gonna like, and now the only sound is fireworks as the crowd just kind of like gasps, stares at you, and you see your mom kind of push someone out of her way, and she starts to run up to you and she goes, Peter, are you?
Nope.
And then you dimension door and fucking bamf out of there. Where do you dimension door to?
Right behind where the rest of the gang is.
Okay.
Oh my god, where did he? Ah!
Oh,
Jesus.
We're going home. I want to go home.
Oh,
Oh god.
Oh.
I pull off like my super fancy cloak and throw it on top of Peter.
Jack kind of rushes to your side to aid you, Peter. And he... Hold on. I don't think he can really help you with intoxication.
Anyone got a lesser restoration spell?
Actually, yes, that is something he does. But if you would like to do it, you are more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me you could have cured my intoxication with a lesser restoration before I went on stage?
I didn't.
None of
think
you-
about it. I didn't think you were gonna Ralph on
Jack
a
wasn't
fucking
here.
stage.
I don't have that.
Give me a second.
Marin is a wizard. He doesn't have any healing or restoration
I
spells.
do have it. Yeah. So Jez Marin throws his cloak on him. Jez turns around, squishes his face. Is like, you better not puke on anything else. I cast
No,
Lesser
just-
Restoration.
Okay.
Smush him face.
So, you are cured of your intoxication, but the crowd is just kind of like glancing around, like what just happened? Where did he go? And Peter, you kind of peek through the crowd, and you can see your mom just worriedly. She's kind of like fidgeting with her hands and glancing around. She looks a bit red in the face. Either because she looks very, very upset, or because she's also embarrassed that she's now standing in front of this entire crowd of people and has no idea where her son went.
Do you want me to go get your mom?
No, do not Do not get my mother.
Okay.
First of all, I suddenly feel a lot better. Jez, why didn't you do this sooner?
I didn't know that you needed it.
Peter, you kind of rushed out there, pretty willy-nilly.
He just hides in the cloak burrito. Just take me home. I'm getting out of this damn outfit. It's a good thing I wore my college outfit. I'm never wearing that thing again.
An owl will pick Peter up. Just go, okay, where's home? I don't know where you go. I can help.
Oh, Al, that's okay, buddy. Here, just, here, give him to me.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll take him. Yeah, we live kind of ways away, but...
Oh. If you guys want a place to, like, crash, I'm sure you guys can stay with my family's camp. It's much closer.
Oh, man, that's really kind of you. But I think, Nyx kind of glances at Jack, and Jack, steps up to Al, and he goes, "Your offer is kind and appreciated, but we have friends that we're staying with, and I'm sure they're gonna want us back home safe, especially with the condition that some of us are in."
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was very nice meeting you, Al.
Nice meeting you too.
Alright, I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's, the festival keeps going until tomorrow in the morning. I think at least, and then Ace said something about like a ball or a gala or something.
Oh yeah, the gala. That's usually a fun little thing.
Yeah. Did your family get invited? So
Did they? That's a very good question.
as a DM, Al probably would have gotten an invite because, and his father, because they served in the military.
Our military service, yeah.
Which means, like, naturally, his father can probably bring a +1, aka Al's mom isn't gonna have to stay at home. She also doesn't have to attend. It's kind of just a, one of those things where people of noble or military rank will, like, mingle for the night.
And they probably won't go. That's just,
the parents.
Just knowing them, they probably won't go.
Okay. So yeah, that's the answer to that. Your family did receive an invitation because of the military duty.
Great.
So, whoops. Should probably stick the URL in there. So, you guys kind of watch as this... The minstrels have kicked up again, even after Peter's, little display. And they play for a little bit more. Peter, Nyx kind of, like, pats your back, reassuringly, and he's just kind of like, "Hey, it's okay, bud. We'll get out of here as soon as this crowd clears out a little bit, because I don't think we could push through really well just yet. Please don't puke on me."
I'm not gonna puke anymore. I'm good now. I'm just...
Oh, that's right. Jez helped you. Okay, thank
Yeah. Thanks, Jez.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. We have got to look out for each other.
Yeah.
So, the display goes on for a little bit before, the minstrels kind of finish playing. Whoops. I think they actually did finish playing. And the finale of this fireworks is you hear 3 kind of launch sounds all at once, and you watch as these 3 barrels, like, collide in the air, and the wizard blows them up. And, he begins to take the cloud of smoke that has just kind of been lingering in the air and weave it together. And, he crafts what seems to be a massive tree. Is that the correct one? Yeah, okay. And now you're kind of standing in silence as you look up at this tree that is made of smoke and smoldering ashes and lingering sparks. A hush kind of falls through the crowd, and you watch as around you start joining hands. Jack grabs your hand, Jez, and reaches up to grab your hand, Owl. As everyone kind of bows their head in a silent prayer of gratitude and thanks to Gaia, the goddess of harvest. After a few moments of silence, the minstrels take a bow, and the elven performer wizard also takes a bow. And then you watch as a fairly young woman makes her way onto the stage, and she is decked out in formal regalia of the grimoire crown, and she turns to address the crowd. She holds up a wand, and her voice is projected loud enough for everyone in the clearing to be able to hear. Good evening. I am Lara Montry, and on behalf of Her Highness, Queen Elena Palace of Grimoire, we want to thank you all for joining us for this celebration of the great goddess Gaia. Grimoire would not be the kingdom it is today without the hard work of the Ironforge colony, and we thank its members for their hard work and inextinguishable determination in reaping the riches of the Ironforge Mountains to benefit not only those of us here in Grimoire, but all of Althane. Without your efforts, we would certainly not be the prosperous nation we exist to be. Thank you. And the crowd kind of like erupts in uproarious applause as everyone applauds, and these like dwarves kind of emerge from the back roads of the town. Some of them have soot on them, and you can tell that they were the ones that were just firing off catapults of black powder into the sky. And they kind of wave, a lot of them cheerfully drunk already. Or not already, at this point of the night. Then the applause dies back down. Tomorrow evening, a gala will be held, and those of you who have received invites will report to the palace ballroom at 7 o'clock. Refreshments will be provided, and the queen will be in attendance to express her gratitude for another prosperous year. Once again, thank you all for coming, and come 5 days from now, the conclusion of the festival will begin in Eldersbane. We wish you all a glorious grimoire good night. And the applause kicks back up, and people begin to kind of disperse. It's not an immediate thing. People kind of linger to talk, and the minstrels peter off the stage and kind of mingle with the audience, but there is a considerable amount of people who just start to go and return to their homes or their hotels or their caravans, wherever they're staying. And Jack releases the hands of Owl and Jez, and he looks up. Shall we be departing for the evening?
That's probably a smart idea, given that we have plans tomorrow.
Yes. We have to be ready for the gala after all. Bless you.
Excuse me,
Bless
sorry.
you. That's okay.
Oh yeah, the gala. You guys are going to that too?
Yeah. Hey, you going?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Jack, I got one question, Jack.
Yeah, Peter. What's up?
Can you help me find a different outfit? I'm not wearing this to the gala after what just happened.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
did get,
you would never ask.
yeah, you did get some chunks on it, so.
Oh
That's-
God, don't
that-
say that. No.
What?
But,
I mean, my
My
family's
cloak
doing
is on
laundry
him.
tomorrow.
oh no.
My family's doing laundry tomorrow. If you needed a hand with that, we could probably wash it for you.
Gosh,
I'll
it's alright.
I'll find you and hand them over when I
Oh,
find
okay.
you.
Tomorrow morning, I guess. Oh.
Where are you
Peter, I don't
staying?
want that back until it's clean.
My
Ow.
shirt is ruined.
Owl, where are you staying? And somebody will bring you the laundry tomorrow. And you
Oh,
can
we
do laundry
stay,
together. Peter.
DM, I had assumed that our camp was sort of with our sort of cart.
Traveling caravan.
Yeah, our caravan. So I'll be at our stand. We're sort of staying in that general area. So no, you can find me where you met me.
That sounds perfect. I might toss my shirt on that pile, but
Mm-hmm.
Please,
uh
please just get rid of it.
why? It holds special memories.
It doesn't.
Maybe not for you.
Well, we'll wash it and it'll be okay.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's get him home. Al, we'll see you tomorrow. It was super cool meeting you.
Yeah, good. Good meeting you too. Bye.
All right.
Night.
You guys, if you have nothing left to say, Art? Yes.
Marin isn't gonna go back with everybody. He has a job.
That's
right.
Yeah.
A job.
As you guys part, Owl, you return to your family. Yes. For the night. Nyx is still carrying you, Peter, despite the fact that you feel a little better. And Jack is walking with you, Jez. You guys make your way towards where the inn that conceals the entrance to the court is, and you see Marin kind of peel off before you stray too far from the crowd.
Where are you going, Marin? I thought we were going back.
I have a job?
Yeah, and it's like 10 o'clock at night.
Jez,
Oh,
it's a nighttime job.
it's a nighttime job.
Are you digging graves or something like this?
No!
That's a weird leap to make.
This is a nighttime job.
I guess.
I'm not sure that it is.
I don't think Marin is a part-time gravedigger, though.
I'm not.
Just like, don't worry about it. He'll be home later. I'm guessing.
Sure.
He kind of looks up.
I'll be back before midnight.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
And the rest of you return to the court. Marin, you meet up with that
I was expecting more than that.
hefty half-orc
Mm.
that you charmed. And he takes you back to his inn and has a time.
Is it a good time?
Depends on how much gold he had. He has a lot
They
of gold.
had sex.
L.
Our monetization.
L.
Fuck. Our
Fuck.
sponsorships.
Our sponsorships.
How is Blue Apron gonna sponsor us now?
How will they sponsor us?
Guys, I made the most unfriendly character to monetization.
It's like executives at 23andMe. I don't like what they're doing
If
on that
Mollybach
Twitch
Tea Leaf can
channel.
get monetized, then
I don't like what they're doing over
Very
there. I
early,
think I
yeah.
need to pull funding.
So, Marin, you earn 240 GP.
Holy shit!
Holy wait, he
That's on your list. You said a night service.
no, I know.
Oh, and over an hour.
He paid me. I was trading him for magic items.
Well, let me think.
I gave him 3 daggers.
Yeah, let's cut it down to 100 GP flat. He like tipped you basically.
Okay, that's fine.
He's not an asshole. He's a traitor.
That's nice.
I just had sex with him. I don't want to rob him blind, you know?
That
He's
that
like-
bumps up my
Was this the one with the country accent? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember thinking he was a hick, and then you were like, he's a half-orc, and I was like, oh.
He's just kind of like, thanks, I feel weird about doing that just for daggers, so
Well, it's appreciated.
he hands you a pouch of 100 GP. And
God. I'm good.
yeah.
Thank you.
You leave.
Night.
And all of you have returned to your
Marin
door.
comes skipping back in around midnight.
Man, guys, I don't think we're gonna get to the fucking gala today. We're gonna get to it next week. Not even next week, 2 weeks from now after Katsu.
We'll see.
Because I have to do something. Marin, you kind of are sneaking back. It's later than midnight. That ran a little bit longer than you were expecting it to. Not for any particular reason other than the fact that the half-orc was very nervous and awkward when you first kind of went to fulfill your promise, because he didn't expect you to. So you're sneaking back around, in real people time, like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And you come back to see Ace standing outside the door of your shared room with Nyx. His hand is hovering above the door as if it was just about to knock.
Can I help?
He seems a bit startled. He looked to be in a bit of a daze when you walked up. But he is quickly snapped out of that at the sound of your voice, and he goes, "Oh, Marin. Yeah. I was wondering if you were willing to have that talk now.
Oh.
I understand if you're busy or tired. We could do it another time."
No. No, it's fine.
Alright, follow me. He, passes by you and leads you back downstairs, to where his office is. And as you enter his office with him, he kind of glances at you for a moment before he moves to a bookshelf that he has lining the back of the wall and pulls on a book. And a small panel of the wall creaks open as a door is released, and he gestures inside, and he goes, "I promise it's not anything weird. I just want to make sure we are in absolute privacy."
Marin Oh, wait. Is it? This is downstairs.
This is downstairs in Ace's office.
Okay. Marin's been counting. He's done this walk a couple times before. Obviously, they've been in Ace's. Is this a 120 feet? This is more than 120 feet from their room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Marin. We'll walk in.
Okay. As you walk in, he pulls the door closed behind you and latches it again. And as you look around, it doesn't seem to be really anything that's super out of the ordinary. It just looks to be almost like a smaller version of his office, except it is absolutely packed full of papers and documents and books. And on the center, there's no desk in the place where his desk would have been in his full office. This room is smaller than his office. In place of where a desk would have been, there's just a podium that has a large, heavy book on it. There are, however, two chairs kind of tucked away in the corners, one of which is just a stool, and he pulls up the stool and gestures for you to sit in the actual armchair.
Marin will go sit down.
Okay. Mir and I understand that we're not on the best of terms right now. And I understand that I've broken your trust in me. And like I said before, that is a regret that I cannot fix with a few words. But I noticed the scars that you had on your arms when you first returned from the Evermore. And, correct me if I'm wrong, did Marin specifically tell Ace what happened in the woods?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not even a little.
Okay, didn't think so. I need to know where you got those. What happened?
Why?
He leans back in his chair for a second and kind of eyes up the fact that your scars are no longer visible. And you see his eyes kind of seem to scan you for any indication of why. And he notices Nyx's glamour charm around your neck, which he would know about because Nyx wore it every single day.
Yeah. And then now it's on Marin and Nyx looks like a full tiefling.
Exactly. So, like, it's pretty obvious that's what's doing it. He sighs and leans back. He's dressed pretty, like, down. He's wearing just a pair of basic brown pants that kind of cut off around the knee, and a button-up shirt underneath a loosely hanging vest. And he runs a hand through his red hair that is already a tousled mess, and he goes, "Well, I guess if you show me yours, I'll show you mine."
Ew.
and he begins unbuttoning his shirt.
This is my third superfluous nipple. I'm so sorry.
It's finally happening. This is the
This is
climax of Marin's arc. He finally gets to bone Ace.
it's happening. Our brain check is happening.
The rain check is being cashed in. As he unbuttons his shirt, you start to see an indication of the same kind of dark markings that you had climbing down your arms and across your body, Marin. And he pulls back the edge of his shirt, and right over his rib cage where his heart would be is what looks to be just this like dark lightning-esque mark. It looks almost as if the veins of his skin are colored black, and it's just reaching around his body like tendrils. And he lets his shirt fall to the floor.
Okay. Marin will take off the necklace.
Okay, as you do so, the scarring on your and the rest of your body where it affected you becomes apparent again. And Ace reaches forward to take one of your hands and kind of examines it closely, noticing how the darkness does the same thing that it's doing on his body, where it seems to have followed the path of your veins. And he goes, Marin, tell me, please. How did this happen? He looks up and meets your eye, and you see just this expression of urgency and almost desperation to know.
Marin immediately looks at the floor. In the Evelyn, going back to the circus, and everything's fine. We're camping, and the next thing I knew, I felt like my body, and then I was back in it, and Nick's crying, and Jez was sitting over me. There was a particularly bad lightning storm, apparently, and I was struck. And it knocked me out instantly. I would have died if not for Jess.
What I feared. Marin, there's a reason I don't go to the Evermore anymore. I haven't been there since it was practically created in the ruins of the war. The magic there, it's It's unstable, it's wild, untamed, unruly, unpredictable. But it's powerful. It's a class of magic all on its own. It's what nearly felled Althane the first time. And obviously it's weaker now. But that means its current state only leaves more unanswerable questions. Marin, I'm gonna ask you to do something that I know will be asking a lot of you. But I need you to trust me, and I need you to swear to me that anything I tell you in this room will not leave it.
You understand that's a lot to ask of me in particular.
I know that's, well, it's imperative that I can trust you and that we can work through this together, because Marin, this isn't just some scar that's going to fade.
I gathered.
Please.
This was months ago at this point. In real time.
Marin, I know I've wronged you, and I know that technically I'm your employer and your boss, but I'm asking you as a friend. Please just trust me.
All right.
There are only about 2 other people in the world who know about this. And he touches his hand to the scar on his chest. And Queen Palace is one of them. And now you're one of them.
And the other? Or am I the second?
The other is a friend in Elder's Bane. And that's all I can really say about that matter, but I promise when the time is right, I will tell you about him as well. But for now, we need to talk about what this means. Make an insight check.
Okay. Ooh.
Oops.
$23.
Okay. As he says that, he kind of straightens up, and you notice that he is no longer breathing.
Marin takes a step back.
He stands up and takes a step back.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He was sitting down. I guess he kind of leans back in his chair.
Okay.
A little bit, and tenses up.
As soon as Ace sees Marin kind of tense up, he holds his hands up in defense, and he's like, I promise you, I'm not a lich. When you asked me that question, the reason I said I'm sure is because while I am not a lich, I'm not exactly alive either. This magic, whatever it is, whoever created it,
Ow.
it's...
Ow. Sorry. She decided to jump on me. I'm very sorry, continue.
Whatever it is, it's the only thing keeping me alive anymore. When that... Tea. When that sorcerer cast it into my chest, it killed me instantly. But then I came back. And the only explanation I could have, or the original Queen Palace could have, was that the magic was keeping me alive. And, well, it's done such a good job that I haven't aged a year in over 2 centuries. And I don't know how long it's going to last. But it showed no signs of stopping. Now, I'm not saying that you're suddenly immortal, Marin. It's different than that. You weren't struck by a user, you were imbued with it naturally. It's not the same as it was when it was originally cast. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The magic in the Evermore is weaker and different. It's remnants.
I understand, but I'm not... Sorry, that's my familiar.
Tea. Hush.
Please shut up.
Please. I've been waiting to have this conversation for like 3 months.
I understand, but I'm not sure what it means. I'm not sure what I'm to make of it.
We have to figure that out together, Marin. Have you noticed anything different since it happened? Whatever this magic is, it binds itself to a person. I'm sure as someone who has studied wizardry, that you know that sorcerers are inherent magic users. They are born with that ability. But this is almost manufactured.
I don't know. When we were fighting the hags, it pained me to even cast spells.
It's not good.
I wasn't sure if it was something they were doing, or something of the circus, or something of the Evermore. Or even if it was just me in that situation.
Are you using the spells that you've known, or did something else happen?
No, it was... If I remember correctly, it was lightning. Ace, I have been practicing lightning magic since I was... God... 16? That's what I've been trained in.
I don't understand then why it would pain you to use magic that you're familiar with, unless for some reason by using components like a wizard would, that you were suppressing some kind of power, and that's why it was paining you. If you draw your power from some other source that's not this magic that has binded itself to you, then perhaps it messes with the machinery a little bit. Does that make sense? Maybe it's because you aren't tapping into the power like you should be, so it's almost reaching a capacity and overflowing.
Sure.
That's just a theory. I don't
Coconut
exactly
bottle.
know.
Then what do I do? I'm... I don't know.
I'm going to do everything I can to help you, Mary. I think all that we can do for now is learn about it. If you meet with me here as often as you can, preferably once a week at least, we can study it, we can train you to use it, to harness it.
If it's not something that can just go away, then that would be ideal.
Then let's do that. Do we have an agreement?
So,
Thank you. And again, I trust that you won't mention anything that I've told you today to anyone else. Listen, I understand that you're close with Nyx, and you've grown close to your other companions as well, but no one can know. And he picks up his shirt and starts buttoning it again.
you have my word.
Thank you. And he kind of stands up and unlatches the door and leads you back out of his little private panic room area.
Ace,
Yes,
can I ask you something?
of course.
Has this ever affected your mind?
Well, I don't know if it was the magic in particular, but, you know, immortality can take a toll on somebody. saw a lot of people that were precious to me pass. And for a little while, I tried everything in my power to, well, but I have a duty. It's to protect Grimoire and Althane and Queen Palace. So
I'm sorry.
I've learned to embrace it. It's
There's the reason why I'm... No. There's more than one, but there is partially a reason why I'm happy I'm not a full elf in that.
yeah. Luckily, there are friends who share my lifespan. What I've had of it so far. So, have a good night, Marin. I hope you enjoy the gala tomorrow. I will see you there. Maybe save me a dance.
Absolutely.
Good night. He sits down at his desk and seems to just start busying himself with work, not quite paying attention to whether or not you're hanging.
Good night, Arterius. And I'll peace out the door.
Okay. Okay. So, for the sake of the fact that I don't want to start the gala at 9:30 because I have homework to do and I have to wake up really early tomorrow because I have student teaching, I'm gonna end it there and we will do the entire gala next session, which will be 2 weeks from now. This upcoming Sunday is going to be Katsucon, and everyone except for our dear Owl will be attending.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I don't know if anybody is listening to this stream, but if you want to meet us, we'll be there. Come say hi and talk to us about Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm sure we'd all love that. But with that being said, that ends this week's session of Court of Spades. Thank you to my players, as always, for playing with me and being great characters. And thank you to anyone who listened.
Thanks, DM.
Thanks, Em. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.